Listen to me very carefully, because what I am about to tell you is going to ruin your next shopping trip. You think you are walking into a brightly lit room to pick out a cute blazer for your interview or a pair of jeans that makes you look like you haven't given up on life yet. You are wrong. You are walking into a data mine. You are a lab rat in the most sophisticated, high-speed behavioral experiment in human history. And the man running the maze? He isn't some flamboyant designer sipping champagne in Milan. He is a recluse in Galicia, Spain, who built a fortune massive enough to make Silicon Valley tech bros weep, all by selling you clothes that are destined to fall apart in the wash. We are talking about Amancio Ortega, the godfather of Inditex, the parent company of Zara. At one point, this guy was richer than Bill Gates. Let that sink in. Gates built the operating system that runs the planet. Ortega sold you a knockoff bomber jacket that you wore twice. That is the absurdity we are dealing with here. To understand how this happened, you have to understand the absolute arrogance of the old world. Before Zara, the fashion industry was a dictatorship run by a handful of snobs in Paris and New York. They operated on seasons. It was a slow, bloated gambling addiction masquerading as art. These designers would sit in their ivory towers, draw a sketch, and say, "Okay, peasants, in 6 months, you will wear teal." They would manufacture millions of teal sweaters, ship them across the ocean on slow boats, and pray to the gods of retail that you actually wanted to wear teal 6 months later. It was the push model. They pushed their ego onto you. If they guessed wrong, they burned the inventory, literally set piles of money on fire. It was inefficient, it was wasteful, and it was ripe for a murder. Enter Ortega. He looked at this system and realized it was stupid. He didn't care about art with a capital A. He cared about speed. He realized that trying to predict the future is a fool's game. Why guess what you want in 6 months when I can just watch what you look at today and have it on a hanger by next week? This wasn't a fashion revolution. It was a logistical coup d'etat. He flipped the entire industry upside down. Instead of the push model, he built the pull model. He turned the supply chain into a rubber band that snaps back the millisecond you touch a piece of fabric. You see, Zara isn't a clothing company. That is the great lie. Zara is a tech company that uses cotton as its storage medium. While the Gap and H&M were drowning in inventory, they couldn't sell, producing massive batches of the same boring hoodie in China to save a few cents. Zara kept their production close to home: Spain, Portugal, Turkey, Morocco. Expensive labor? Sure. But fast, terrifyingly fast. They could go from a sketch on a napkin to a product in a store in New York in 15 days. 15 days. The competition took 6 to 9 months. It's like bringing a machine gun to a knife fight. This speed did something diabolical to your brain. It destroyed the concept of waiting. In the old days, if you saw a nice coat, you could think about it. You could go home, check your budget, maybe come back next week. The coat would still be there. Zara killed that safety. They created a store where the inventory changes so fast that if you don't buy that top right now, it will be gone forever. They weaponized your anxiety. They turned shopping into hunting. And the craziest part? You thanked them for it. You handed over your credit card, desperate to secure a piece of fabric that was designed literally 2 weeks ago by a computer algorithm that noticed people in Tokyo were wearing slightly wider collars. This empire was built on a simple, brutal truth that the fashion elite refused to accept. People don't want quality. They don't want heritage. They want to look like the rich and famous, and they want to do it for the price of a sandwich, and they want it right now. Ortega didn't just sell clothes. He democratized the superficiality of the elite. He gave the masses the ability to dress like runway models for a week, before the hem unraveled and the trend died. And in doing so, he created a disposable culture that turned the planet into a landfill, all while you felt like a genius for snagging a deal. But don't get comfortable. because we haven't even talked about how they know what you want before you do. That is where the real horror begins. You think the fitting room is a private place? A sanctuary where you can suck in your gut, stare at your reflection under unflattering fluorescent lights, and decide if you're worth $40? That is adorable. The fitting room is not a sanctuary. It is an interrogation room, and you are the one spilling state secrets without saying a word. In the world of Inditex, the store manager is not there to tell you where the restrooms are or to unlock the dressing room door with a fake smile. No, my friend, that manager is a field agent, a spy, a highly trained operative in the most ruthless intelligence agency on earth. Here is the scene. You pick up a floral dress. You take it to the back. You put it on. It's cute, but the zipper keeps getting stuck on your hip. You take it off, hand it back to the assistant, and say, "The zipper is kind of annoying." You walk away, thinking that conversation died in the air. You think that was just idle chatter. You're dead wrong. Before you have even left the store, that annoying zipper comment has been punched into a handheld device. It's been digitized, quantified, and beamed directly to the Cube, the futuristic Bond villain headquarters in Arteixo, Spain. This is the secret sauce. Most fashion brands treat their stores like buckets. You just pour product in and hope people buy it. If they don't, you mark it down. Zara treats its stores like ears. Every single day, store managers from thousands of locations across the globe are required to report back, not just on sales numbers, any idiot can read a spreadsheet, but on vibes, on the things you didn't buy. Why did the customer touch the red pants but put them back? Why is everyone asking for velvet this week? Why are the hems on the skirts sitting too high for the women in Dubai but too low for the women in London? This data hits the headquarters like a tsunami, and here is where the magic happens. In a traditional company, this feedback would go into a report, which would go to a committee, which would go to a vice president, who would read it 3 months later while on a golf course. At Inditex, that data goes directly to the design team. The designers sit right next to the commercial team. There are no walls. There is no bureaucracy. There is only the panic of the now. If 50 women in Tokyo and 50 women in New York say the zipper is trash, the design is pulled immediately. If people are asking for a belt to go with that trench coat, a belt is designed, manufactured, and shipped to the store before you even remember you wanted it. They are not guessing what you will wear next season. They are reacting to what you screamed for 5 minutes ago. You are the unpaid head of product development. You are doing the work for them. Every time you browse, every time you reject an item, you are training the algorithm. And notice what you don't see? You don't see massive billboards. You don't see TV commercials during the Super Bowl. Why? Because advertising is for companies that have to convince you to buy things you don't want. Zara doesn't need to advertise because they are giving you exactly what you asked for 3 days ago. The store itself is the advertisement. The store is the trap. They save billions on marketing and dump it all into logistics and surveillance. So the next time you see a store associate tapping furiously on a tablet while you browse, don't think they are texting their boyfriend. They are writing your dossier. They are telling Ortega that you think neon is out and pastels are in. And by next Tuesday, the entire store will be pastel, and you will open your wallet again, thinking you made a choice. You didn't make a choice. You just followed orders that you gave yourself. Forget the romantic image of the fashion designer. Burn it. Erase the mental picture of the tortured genius sitting in a sun-drenched attic in Milan, waiting for the muse to whisper inspiration into his ear while he strokes a piece of silk. That person is dead. Inditex killed him, buried him, and built a distribution center on his grave. In the empire of speed, there is no time for art. Art is slow. Art is risky. Art requires a soul. Zara doesn't need a soul. It needs a bestseller. and it needs it by Friday. Welcome to the factory floor of creativity, where the title fashion designer is a sick joke. At the Inditex headquarters, the design team doesn't function like an atelier. It functions like a Xerox machine on steroids. These aren't artists. They are data entry clerks with a flair for sketching. They are the DJs of the clothing world. They don't write the music. They just remix it until your ears bleed. Here is how the heist works. A high-end luxury brand, let's say Balenciaga or Gucci, spends millions of dollars and 6 months developing a groundbreaking new look. They hire the best photographers, the best models, and they debut it on a runway in Paris. It's a masterpiece. It's the look of the season. The flashbulbs pop, the applause roars, and somewhere in the back row or glued to a high-resolution screen in Spain are the eyes of the Inditex machine. They aren't admiring the beauty. They are measuring the dimensions. Before the models have even wiped the makeup off their faces, the Zara teams are already dissecting the collection. They pick out the elements that are going to sell, the shape of the shoulder, the specific shade of lime green, the cut of the pant leg, and they feed it into the grinder. But they don't just copy it. That would be too slow and legally troublesome. They interpret it. They tweak a button here, shorten a hem there, change the fabric from luxurious wool to cheap synthetic, and boom. They have created a Frankenstein monster that looks 90% like the real thing, but costs 1% of the price. This is the democratization of fashion, they call it. I call it the legalization of plagiarism. The original designers, the ones who actually did the work, are left holding the bag. By the time their authentic, high-quality $2,000 dress hits the stores in 6 months, the trend is already over. Why? Because Zara flooded the streets with a $40 version 3 months ago. The copycat arrives before the original. It is a temporal paradox that shouldn't exist, but it does. The parasite is now faster than the host. And the volume. It is nauseating. A traditional fashion house might produce a few thousand unique designs a year. They curate. They edit. Inditex produces tens of thousands. It is a fire hose of content. They throw everything at the wall to see what sticks. If a designer at Zara tries to be original and creates something that doesn't fit the immediate data trends, they are wasting space. Creativity is actually a liability in this model because creativity implies a personal vision, and personal visions are unpredictable. The algorithm hates unpredictability. So what we are left with is the death of the artist and the rise of the content creator of clothes. We are wearing algorithms. We are draping our bodies in data points. The clothes have no story, no heritage, and no meaning other than that this is what people clicked on last week. It is hollow, it is cynical, and it is absolutely brilliant business. They have successfully trained us to stop looking for quality and start looking for the dopamine hit of the new. We don't want a relationship with our clothes anymore. We want a one-night stand. And Zara is the ultimate pimp, ensuring there is always a fresh body waiting on the rack, ready to be used and discarded. You think Amazon Prime is fast because they can get you a toothbrush in 2 days? That is child's play. That is amateur hour. Jeff Bezos is playing with toy trucks compared to the logistical sorcery happening in Galicia. We are talking about a supply chain that moves with the speed and precision of a military strike. Welcome to The Cube in our Take Show Spain. This isn't a warehouse. It is the beating heart of the monster. Picture a facility so massive it has its own horizon line. But the real magic isn't what you see, it's what you don't see. Beneath the ground, there is a labyrinth of tunnels, over 120 miles of underground tracks. It is a subterranean superhighway where millions of garments zip around on high-speed monorails like red blood cells in a caffeine-addicted artery. Here is the insanity of it. A shirt is stitched in a nearby factory, thrown onto this underground track, sorted by an automated optical reader that scans barcodes faster than the human eye can blink and packed into a box destined for Tokyo. And here's the kicker. It reaches Tokyo in 48 hours, not weeks. Hours. Most retailers are cheap. They are terrified of shipping costs. They put their clothes on massive cargo ships that crawl across the ocean like lethargic whales. It takes months. It's cheap, but it's slow. Ortega looked at that and laughed. He realized that the most expensive thing in retail isn't shipping. It's markdowns. It's having a pile of unsold clothes that you have to sell at a 50% discount because they arrived 2 weeks too late. So, what does Zara do? They put cheap polyester on airplanes. Yes, you heard me. That $30 blouse you bought? It flew business class. It racked up more frequent flyer miles in 2 days than you will in a lifetime. They fly clothes around the world constantly. It costs a fortune in fuel, but it guarantees that the new product hits the store exactly when the hype is hottest. They trade profit margin on shipping for full price sales. It is a mathematical gamble that pays off in billions, and the precision, it is terrifying. They don't just send a box of smalls to a store. They know that the store in Soho sells more size 4s on Tuesdays, so they send exactly 3 size 4s, not 4, not 2. 3. It is just-in-time manufacturing applied to vanity. The store has no back room. The store is the stock. If you see it on the rack, that is it. There is no let me check the back. The truck arrives, the clothes go on the floor, and if you don't buy it, it's gone. This system turns the entire globe into a single, pulsating organism. A trend starts in London on Monday. The design is tweaked in Spain on Tuesday. The fabric is cut on Wednesday, and the finished garment is hanging in a store in Dubai by Friday night, just in time for the weekend rush. It makes the rest of the industry look like they are operating in the Stone Age. While other CEOs are looking at weather reports and hoping for a cold winter to sell coats, Inditex is essentially controlling the weather. They don't need to predict. They just execute. It is the logistics of greed, refined to a level of art so high, it almost makes you forget you're looking at a global pollution machine. Almost. Now we enter the dark alley of psychology. We have talked about the data, the spies, and the jets. But none of that matters if you, the consumer, don't actually open your wallet. How do they make you do it? How do they turn a rational human being into a drooling, desperate hoarder of polyester? 2 words. Weaponized FOMO. Fear of missing out isn't just a hashtag for your Friday night. It is the cornerstone of the Inditex business model. In a normal store, let's take the Gap again, poor souls. You walk in and see a wall of 50 identical blue sweaters, piles of them, towers of them. Your brain looks at that abundance and says, relax, there is plenty. I can come back next week. I can wait for the sale. That pile of sweaters is a sedative. It kills the urgency. Zara creates the opposite. They create a Hunger Games environment in the aisles. They practice artificial scarcity. They intentionally understock. They might only ship 5 of those floral blouses to your local store. When you walk in and see only 1 left in your size, your lizard brain kicks in. The prehistoric part of you that worries about starving to death in the winter suddenly screams, grab it. You aren't thinking about whether you need it. You're thinking about the pain of losing it. They have gamified shopping. They call it the treasure hunt. It sounds fun, right? Like a pirate adventure? No, it's a Skinner box. They have trained you to visit the store constantly because the inventory rotates so fast that the store you walked into on Tuesday is a completely different store on Friday. If you see something you like, you have to buy it now. Right now, there is no thinking about it. There is no holding it. There is only buy or die. This is why Zara sells 85% of its clothes at full price. Read that again. 85%. The rest of the industry is lucky to sell 60% before they have to slash prices and beg you to take the stuff away. You don't wait for a Zara sale because you know deep down that the item won't make it to the sale rack. It will be on someone else's back, or it will be shipped away to another store where the demand is higher. They have successfully hacked your dopamine receptors. Finding that perfect jacket in your size at Zara feels like a victory. You feel like you won something. You didn't win anything. You just paid full price for a garment that cost $3 to make because you were terrified it would vanish. You are paying a premium for your own anxiety. And the cruelest part? This cycle never ends because the clothes are designed to be of the moment. They are obsolete the second the moment passes. You wear it 3 times. The trend dies, the fabric pills, and you are back in the store. Hungry for the next fix, terrified of missing out on the next big thing. It is a masterclass in manipulation. They aren't just selling clothes. They are selling the relief of anxiety that they created in the first place. Now comes the hangover. The lights turn on, the music stops, and we have to look at the mess we made on the floor. We have talked about the genius of the system, the speed of the jets, and the thrill of the hunt. But every party has a cleanup cost, and in the case of fast fashion, the bill is being sent to the planet, and the planet is bouncing the check. Welcome to the greenwashed graveyard. This is where your cute top goes to die. You see, the genius of Inditex was making clothes so cheap that they became disposable. They turned garments into single-use plastics. You don't repair a $15 shirt. You don't patch a hole in a $20 pair of trousers. You trash them. You treat them like sandwich wrappers. The average piece of fast fashion is worn 7 times before it is discarded. 7 times. In the days of our grandparents, a coat was an investment. Today, it is a temporary costume for an Instagram post. And don't you dare feel good about dropping that bag of old clothes in the recycling bin at the mall. That bin is not a magic portal to a green utopia. It is a placebo box designed to alleviate your guilt so you can go buy more stuff. The dirty secret? Most of that stuff isn't recycled into new clothes. The technology to separate mixed fibers, the cotton polyelastane frankenfabrics that Zara loves, barely exists at scale. So, where does it go? It goes to the global south. It gets baled up and shipped to places like Ghana or the Atacama Desert in Chile. Have you seen the pictures? There are literal mountains. Dunes of discarded polyester rising out of the desert sands like a dystopian nightmare. These aren't sand dunes. They are graves of unbought and unwanted trends. That sustainable dress you bought? It's sitting there baking in the sun, slowly releasing microplastics into the air. And since it is made of synthetic fibers, which is just a fancy word for plastic, it will sit there for 200 years. Your great-great-grandchildren will be dead. And that cheap blouse will still be intact, choking a seagull. But wait, Zara has a solution. They have Join Life collections. They have eco-friendly tags. They use organic cotton. Please, spare me. This is the definition of greenwashing. It is putting a Band-Aid on a decapitation. They are selling you the idea of sustainability while operating a business model that requires infinite growth and infinite consumption. You cannot be sustainable when your entire existence depends on convincing people to buy things they don't need every single week. It is like a drug dealer donating to a rehab clinic while still selling heroin on the corner. They want you to focus on the 5% of their collection made from recycled polyester, so you ignore the 95% that is virgin plastic derived from fossil fuels. Fashion is now responsible for up to 10% of global carbon emissions, more than all international flights and maritime shipping combined. Inditex and its fast fashion cousins have turned the simple act of getting dressed into an environmental crime scene. They have monetized destruction. They are stripping the earth of resources to make products that are designed to fail, designed to be trash. So the next time you see a Go Green sign in a fast fashion store, laugh. Laugh at the audacity, because the only thing green about this industry is the color of the money they are extracting from your wallet while the world burns. We are drowning in clothes, yet we have nothing to wear but our own hypocrisy. And now we arrive at the bitter end, the part where the snake starts eating its own tail. You see, for decades, Amancio Ortega and his Inditex empire were the apex predators. They were the sharks in a tank of goldfish. They looked at the old department stores and laughed as they tore them to shreds. But here is the cruel joke of capitalism. There is always a bigger shark, or in this case, a swarm of millions of piranhas. Just as Zara disrupted the old guard, Zara is now being disrupted. To a Gen Z kid scrolling through TikTok at 3 a.m., Zara looks like, well, it looks like their mom's store. It looks slow. It looks expensive. Enter the new demons, ultra-fast fashion. We are talking about Shein. We are talking about Temu. If Zara is a machine gun, Shein is a nuclear strike. Zara takes 2 weeks to get a design to a store? Cute. Shein adds 6,000 new items to its website every single day. They don't have physical stores to slow them down. They don't worry about stocking shelves in Paris. They are a direct line from a sweaty factory floor in Guangzhou to your mailbox. They have removed the middleman, the storefront, and the dignity, stripping the process down to its rawest, most toxic form. They use algorithms that scrape social media in real time, identifying microtrends before they even have a name and manufacturing them before the influencer has even finished their video. Zara is now in a panic. The disruptor has become the dinosaur. They are trying to pivot. Have you noticed? They are trying to look premium. They are hiring artsy photographers. They are jacking up their prices. They are trying to convince you that they are high street luxury because they can't compete in the race to the bottom anymore. The bottom has fallen out. There is no bottom. There is only a black hole of $3 polyester tops that smell like gasoline. This is the glitch in the matrix. This system requires infinite growth. It demands that you buy more clothes this year than you did last year, forever. But we live on a finite planet. We are running out of water to dye the cotton. We are running out of oil to make the plastic. We are running out of landfill space to dump the mistakes. The machine is overheating. It is vibrating so fast, it is about to shatter. We have reached the peak of absurdity. We are buying clothes we don't like, with money we don't have, to impress people we don't know, on an app that is mining our data to sell us more clothes we don't like. It is a perfect, closed loop of stupidity. So, where does that leave you? You are the battery powering this matrix. You are the one holding the credit card. The only thing that can stop this runaway train is you stepping off the platform. But will you? Or is the dopamine hit of that shiny new blazer just too good to resist? The machine is betting on your addiction. Amancio Ortega is betting on your greed. And looking at the numbers, looking at the piles of packages on every doorstep in every city, I wouldn't bet against them. The store is open, the data is flowing, and the clock is ticking. Good luck.